guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
I can. Cool.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to push this website again. Mediterraneo Antico for anybody who can read Italian, at least somewhat. There's a ton of great bilingual books on there. Let's see, there's Ptolemaic Egyptian, there is Coptic, there is more classical, and basically always the original text plus the translation, which is really great. So, and everything for free, I should mention. They have some books that they sell for money, but yeah, some Demotic as well. I found last week they have some Akkadian.
Wow.
Really well done.
Neat. That's really cool.
So yeah, check it out, mediterraneoantico.it.
So, how did, I guess, does Alan talk about this in any of his grammars about like the difference between like late Egyptian and Ptolemaic? Is Ptolemaic still late Egyptian, or is it Demotic by that point?
If I knew, I mean, I'm going through one right now just for the fun of it. Hang on, where is it? Do I still have it open? Of course, closed it. But the one that I posted an excerpt from in our general chat. And I mean, if you look at the language in this particular one, it's a religious text. It does have some late Egyptian forms in there, like, for example, the third future. On the other hand, it also uses decidedly Middle Egyptian constructions, like appending the personal pronoun everywhere instead of using the definite article plus personal pronoun. So to me, as a newbie to this form of the language, it looks a bit like a mix. And of course, the thing that stands most out is the completely cryptic orthography.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, for example, this here is you, like the reed leaf. It's just written completely differently. And many things like that, where essentially it's sort of like a cryptography exercise to figure out what exactly they're trying to say. Like, for example, this is Reper, or Coptic Chope, but it's not written with the beetle anymore, but it's just written H and P, approximating how it's actually pronounced during that time, Chope. So yeah, I unfortunately don't know much more than that yet, but what's really cool about the website is that they basically give you a ton of these texts and you can just basically figure it out by yourself how that works.
Cool.
That is kind of nice. And if you don't like that, for example, they have the life of Hilaria in Coptic. So there's a few other things in there which are interesting, or something more traditional like the Papyrus Ebers. Yeah, highly recommended to check out.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, but back to our very late Egyptian text. I need a reminder, as usual.
We're doing the end of page 5, I think.
Yeah, I think we need to look at the hieratic, the last 2 lines starting at Wenin on line 13, and then start translating at the very top of page 6.
Sounds good. Sounds awesome. So you're saying from here, right? From the little rabbit?
Yes.
Wenin. Let's see, I don't think we need to go sign by sign anymore because so much is familiar by now. So just letting my eyes glide down the line. If you see anything that stands out, knee is kind of ligatured here. Ta is almost like its own sign. Like this, and then the A underneath. Let's see. The B1 woman with the dot very far away, but we had that before, so by now that's not surprising. Uha, the Ha being kind of ligatured. I didn't do that very well, but you get it. That's a huge loaf of bread here at the end, isn't it? Wait, how do you do this? Clear all. So there's a T on top, just like the T over here in Ta. Same
Yeah,
principle.
and it comes down a little bit. And it's like an R with a dot in the middle.
It's like a giant R with a dot in the middle, which
Yeah.
kind of makes sense, but it's still cool. This is all traditional.
I found the dot. I found that, yeah, that one was a bit weird. Like I couldn't actually tell that was different from a T.
I would have read it as a T. I mean, I guess one shouldn't because the T would probably go on a little bit, but hey, this looks like a T. This looks like a U, but in reality, what it is this. So it's not this thing, which should have an extra little stroke in there, and this doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
really,
it's a little
it's this.
lazy.
And in case you didn't get it the first time, he does it a favor and does it again. Vertical boat.
The mystery T.
The mystery T that we talked about in the chat. And I mean, at this point in time, the only thing it can really be is, in my mind, is a tool, like a few lines above. So maybe he was really just going by sound. I mean, you would think T at this point in time would be something like te, and you would think TW would be something like te. So I guess he just wrote one for the other based on sound, like as if this was a stator for a pseudo participle. That's how I would take it. So like there for there, Christian's standard example. I think that's what that is. Unless anybody sees it differently.
And I know, I know we talked in the past too about, did we ever determine the reason as to why he's repeating the sign at the beginning of the next line? Maybe just
No,
close?
we didn't. We
Okay.
did not. I'm not sure how often he actually breaks at the end of the line. I really don't know. Like,
This is like the third or fourth one we've seen.
Yeah.
So I mean, the theories are that it's to guide the eye, or it's just a mistake.
Yeah,
Where he
could
goes to the
be.
next line and he moves his finger on whatever he's copying and starts the word again.
Okay.
My gut feel is, but I didn't check it, that it doesn't do like how do you call it, scripta continua very often. It doesn't like to break in the middle of words, I think, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
Would have to like really check all the lines in the manuscript and just see how often does he actually break up a word.
Yeah. He doesn't usually break up a word, but sometimes he does. So
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
sort
like
of at the end of this line as well.
yeah.
The T and the determinative are on the next line.
Oh yeah, you're right. That goes over to
Yeah.
the next line.
On the next page even.
Right.
And he could so easily have squeezed it on there, you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What if
right.
Well, I guess not actually. The way he does that loaf is enormous.
It's a good look for it.
True.
One bread.
It's getting on towards lunchtime, so they want to make the loaf really big.
I think that would be an interesting topic, what the rules actually are for like word boundaries, when they break, when they don't. I'm not sure if anybody has looked into that. By Hieratic. Anything special here? The head that goes over into the ip is kind of neat. What is he actually doing there? Because this here is the her. And then he has like a little, oh, that's the, okay, Gardner, or we read that as a dual stroke. Okay, that makes sense. That belongs there.
Yeah, it's normally there when he writes that word.
That's right. So that makes sense. Let's see. Highly abbreviated jet. To ligature, ni ligature or ni ligature, however you want to pronounce it. Negative imperative. Going over, ferry over again. Scheme or sathimit. Nebit. Oh no, nib. He doesn't write any T anymore, because at this point in time, the adjective doesn't distinguish anymore between male and female, so it's just nib.
But Neb is very squashed.
This one here, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other ones were much wider.
Indeed, indeed.
I like the
And
basket.
usually-
bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, and usually the fill is connected to the basket.
Right. I mean, it should be different, right? It should be like this.
Yeah.
Why he made it so small, no idea. I mean, is he copying from something? You would think. You would think these are copies, not from memory. So is it because he knows there's a big sign coming after? I don't know. Talking about big sign coming after, what on earth?
Yeah, what on earth is that?
Yeah. Is that the life preserver thingy? Or is that
The what? I'm sorry?
Jabba.
that is?
The jabba. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, no, it does look like a life preserver to me too. You put it over your neck.
Oh, wow.
Let's look this guy up.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but that's the first thing that came to mind.
How do you pronounce it?
Jabba.
Jad, yeah.
Okay. Like this? Or just Jeb?
Oh,
I think
got
it's-
B in there.
I think it's Jabba.
Jed B.
Jabba.
Yeah,
Aleph.
right. So capital D, lowercase d, large uppercase A.
Like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks, guys. And there it is. Huh.
Huh.
Look at that. Especially in the middle, but we can look at the whole history. So,
Really is a big sign.
yeah. And that's just, well, I don't want to say all the time, but often enough, it really doesn't look much like it's, well, you can sort of see it, but
Yeah.
it's not what I would have expected. Let's put it this way. Very cool. So what do all of these have in common? Yep, that's ours, exactly. So looks like always, let's see. So looks like always a downstroke here, another one over here, and then extensions of
Yeah. Yeah.
ad lib length, either small or big. Okay, I exaggerated a bit, but something like this. But sometimes there's another one at the bottom, it seems. This here is fairly clear. Like this? Or is that an afterthought? Is it like this, 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 this?
Huh.
Who knows, huh? But it seems like the key elements are basically something on top, down, down, and across. Everything else details. But if we recognize that shape, we know it's Jabba. Okay. Very cool.
I just want to point something out that's interesting. In this instance, he just has Neb after Seth Hemet, but in line 5, he has Nebet. Same thing, any woman, but he does the feminine Neb that time. That's strange to do it differently 6 lines later.
Yeah. That's weird.
That is interesting. Makes you wonder when he does it. Quick bunny ride. Which line is it?
Line 5, the beginning of the line.
Line 5, beginning of the line. Schimenebet senen. I mean,
Yep.
what's interesting is this starts with a vowel, right? So I'm thinking like I could be completely off base, but if you think to French, like for example, French.
I think like French, it's preserved when there's a
Oh,
subsequent vowel.
interesting.
Yeah.
Just a wild theory, but it could be that, like in some circumstances, maybe it is preserved. But that's just a theory. I could be wrong, because then often what he does is he would write or what they do is they would write a U as well to make sure that, hey, this is really pronounced. So I don't know, but that's one thing that comes to mind. Why? Rather than random variation. I sort of think when they write something differently, there's a reason for it. Just it may not be obvious to us why. I mean, one thing we can tell just by looking at this scribe is an accomplished scribe. He knows what he's doing. He's not like painstakingly copying something like a schoolboy who just learned how to write. So why would he make random variation?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, Boo. Interesting point though. Very interesting. Boo. Anything else? Ta. E. I think we have it. That's it. And welcome to page 6.
So random question about this page. What do you think the black line dividing, let's see, Ness is? Is that just a...
That's a crack.
That's a crack.
Yeah.
That's crack Egyptian. And if Christian were here, he would say that he doesn't get why they always use a black background, just to make it look exactly like it was something on the papyrus instead of a green one, for example.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
makes
that'd
me
be bad.
crazy.
But yeah, if you look at the whole page image, it's really obvious that the edges line up all the way down.
Yep.
Okay. But it looks so straight. Is it like the fibers of the papyrus maybe split and then that whole...
Yeah, it cracked and then kind of pulled apart like this. So the
okay.
first few lines, it's very wide and straight, and then sort of a jagged bit.
Yeah.
And then it gets
okay.
narrower as you go down the page.
I see. Thank you.
I mean, often it could be when you have like such a line, it could be because the papyrus was folded there.
Sure.
And then just basically that part wore off, especially with letters or something which can be multiply folded. You have those unfortunately very linear destructions across the whole page because that part was abraded later. I'm not sure, this almost looks kind of too clean for that, but who knows?
Yeah, but I like looking at the rest of the page too, because then it looks less clean to me as it goes down. Right? It's pretty small. Anyway. Yeah.
Good point, you're right. That speaks against my theory because it becomes so hair thin at the bottom. If it were a fold, this looks just like damage.
But yeah, up above it almost looks like somebody took a razor blade just like to that line. And
the thought crossed my mind, just like some people broke up cuneiform tablets because they thought that multiple tablets were worth more than one. Sancta
Oh my
simplicity.
God.
Yeah. Hey, if you're a grave tomb digger or you know, just in it for the money. Okie doke, who wants that one?
I can try, I guess.
Right.
So willingness, Herajed and F. And then she said to him, Iui Erditenke Pachetem. Oh, Achtem, I guess. Yeah, Pachetem Nebu. Neti im Jeret, I guess. So then she said to him, I wasn't sure about the tense here, but so I give to you the ring which is on my finger. So neti is the relative. Yes, neti right here. So I will give to you the ring of gold which is on my hand, I guess. EUF Herjed, an S, and then he said to her, Imtu Pachetem in Nebu. So give me this is the imperative, give me the ring of gold. EU set Erdit F and F. And then she gave it to him. So the first .f here is referring back to the chetem, the ring, and then the nf is the indirect object giving it to him, the ferryman.
That's exactly what I was wondering. Thank you. What's the extra F doing in there? Yeah.
That Makes a lot of sense, right? So let's see. You said you weren't sure about the tense of the beginning.
Yeah, the EU, the EUE, the right here, EUE or jet.
Let me ask this way: what do you think the jet is grammatically?
It has a T at the end, so it's probably an infinitive.
That's right. That's right. So, what if I were to say there's something missing between UE and the infinitive?
Oh, it would be EUE hair jet again.
I think so. I think it's
Okay.
the first future. So it was that she said to him, "I will give you a ring of gold, which is, I guess, in my hand, right? Is it my hand or in the hand? Well, I guess
In the hand, I think,
Mm.
unless that dot is actually something else.
Right. I mean, in this case, you would, yeah, I think in most languages you would say my hand. English is super specific there. We always say my hand. Like, for example, I put my hands in my pockets. And I remember a Spanish speaker once pointing out that in Spanish, you don't do that. You put the hands in your pockets, in the pockets. If you put your hands in somebody else's pockets, it's a problem. But English just loves to be super specific what's yours and what's mine. But I think in this case, pretty much any language would say her hands. So kind of weird that it's missing here. Is it in the original? Let's see what's there.
It's just a dot. Like
There's just a dot. Yeah, it's like nothing.
Yeah.
and so it really doesn't look like a B1 or anything else, but I don't know what the dot stands for.
True.
Maybe with the plural, with the literal stroke, there's not room for the pronoun, but
yeah. Then again, I mean, my hand would have been ending in a vowel, right? So unlike yours or his, you don't have an extra consonant there.
so you can just leave it off.
I think that makes it kind of optional if you write it or not, maybe. So he said to her, like you said, give. Well, what does he actually say? Immer tu pache. What's that tu here doing in the sentence? Did we cover that or did I miss it? And I missed it?
I think we've seen that before. Like the M2, the M22, the M2 pa.
I was thinking it was just kind of extra, but I really do like what you were saying earlier, Aurelio, that there's probably something going on there that we're just not getting in terms of vowels. But I don't know. Yeah, I didn't give it any semantic meaning other than it was just there.
Isn't there something where an imperative can be reinforced by a, now I'd have to lie if I remember which one it is. Is it the dependent pronoun? I seem to remember that you can stick something afterwards if you want to, like, not just say give me the ring, but you give me the ring, so to say, like give you me the ring. I think that's what may be going on here, but let's cheat. I'm gonna give you okay, I'm gonna give you, what do we call a gâteau? I want to say a cookie, but German
Cake.
A cake. Yes, a cake. I'm gonna give you a cake. What do I do with your cake? We had all this. Here we go. And he calls it they call it a seal here, interestingly enough, not a ring. I like ring better. Again, I guess maybe it's one of those seal kind of rings that people have.
Yeah, but it does seal, doesn't it? Does say seal, doesn't it? But I think most of the time it is a ring that is a seal.
So probably the issue is one in English and not one in Egyptian. They knew what they were talking about. Okay. Oh, interesting. Look at that. They interpret the smudge as the personal pronoun.
There you go.
Okay. Very diminutive. If you describe yourself as smudge, but okay. All right. Here we go. There you go. Particle of the imperative. That's a cop out if I've ever seen one. Particle of the imperative. I guess I'll have to read up on that, but I think it's just a second person, some kind of pronoun that you can stick in there just to reinforce you're the one who's supposed to do something, namely, in this case, give. In Coptic, it would just be ma. I mean, ma is the imperative of D, right?
Yeah.
Did we do the last one? You say Hergeri F and F? We did. Okay.
Yeah. And there's the hair you again. Well, you omitted hair again. US hair Jed and F. Jed F and F, yeah. Air Jet and F. Then il por ia.
Kind of broken word for word French, yes. This here's no, never mind. It's just this is a pronoun. Huh?
Yeah.
Elle le lui donna. All right.
Yep. Le lui.
Good luck with that. Yeah, pretty straightforward, huh? Grammatically. So one thing we see is the F here refers back to the ring, which is masculine because it has a pa. So that all makes sense. So first F is give it, namely the ring, to him. Okay, cool. Hieratic or next line?
Hieratic.
All right. How do we want to do that? Should I just continue going through it, or does somebody else want to?
I think you hit the nail on the head, just skimming it and then stop when we get to something unusual or noteworthy.
Yeah. I'm still confused about the difference between the hair with the R and the hair without the R.
Yeah.
This one's the one without.
Right, because they both have a little thing underneath, but it's kind of how big it is, whether it's the
But with
neck
the
or the
R,
beard.
it's like this squiggly thing that looks a
Right,
little
there's
bit
an
like
extra. It's bigger.
yeah, with a long onwards, leftwards thing. I think reminds me to the Xiang sign in Chinese.
The what sign in Chinese?
I think Xiang, isn't it? Like Jiaxiang. Yeah.
Completely. Ich stehe auf dem Schlauch, but that's okay.
Oh, there we go.
Wait,
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool.
oh, that one. Oh, simplified. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Wait, and where's this now? Oh, you mean
Yeah, the old one
bottom
had
of the
just as
tab?
the radical.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. You mean for the one that has the R underneath, right?
The R. The heard with the R.
Yeah. Look down one line, you'll see it in the Harry-Ib.
Yeah.
This one, yep, yeah, you're right. That actually does kind of look like it. Yeah, they use the full form whenever, is that true? When the R is pronounced? Maybe? Because this one here in Coptic just becomes he. And no more R left. Versus in Kheri, the R may still be there. Again.
Also, I think the meaning is a bit different because if it doesn't have the R, it's mostly the grammatical bit.
Oh yeah.
And underneath, it's like actually like in the middle, like or on the middle.
True. Because it's Kheri, right? Kheri is a Nisbe kind of thing. How do you write Kherof, Kherak, and so on? Like when you want to have Kher with a pronoun, though. I'm not sure if we've seen that somewhere. I'm wondering which form they uses then. I mean, here it's all Heri-ib, Heri-ib, Heri-ib. That's not too exciting because it's the same word. But I'm wondering, did we see that anywhere? Like, to Ralph's question, when does he do what?
Yeah, I don't know. I just noticed sometimes it's one and sometimes it's the other, but I think Georg is right.
We can keep an eye out for it.
It's just wider at the bottom.
Right. Yeah, not sure I'm going to find it that fast. What I want to predict is that when you have Hiraf or Hirek or something, let's see. And here you don't know. I mean, here he writes the full form. You can see the R very clearly.
Yeah, that one's clearly separate, but that's not what he normally does.
Nope.
Yeah, he also often, like, in the beginning he writes it clearly, and later he just does abbreviations.
No doubt. That is true. So there's the speed factor for sure. I wonder
Like
whether
with the island in the middle. I think the first time it was relatively clearly, and later he just has like some strokes, and then you know what I mean.
Yep. Okay, I would say let's keep an eye out for it. If we ever see one with the pronoun, shout out. I don't find one quick enough. I mean, here he writes the whole thing as well, but that's Hieratic again, so. Interesting. Okay, what's next? I think the seal is next. That seal thing. Although we had that, right? Didn't we? I think we covered that.
Yeah, we've done that one before.
Yep.
I wasn't particularly surprised by it.
There was like a loop in a box, basically, if I remember right. And here's the box.
Yeah, I like the noob right there.
Here's a better one.
Yeah, that's nice.
Enti or Ed in Coptic, still around. Okay, now I've looked at this enough to actually see what he's doing here. So you really have DT stroke and then something behind it. So that's why we have the smudge glue. Okay, that makes some sense.
Yeah.
In S, you just have to know. Ma, really interesting that Lady Egyptian has an extra E in front that's not there in Coptic. It's not Ima, like or Ama or something like you would expect. Like, for example, Aji, say, from Jed. That one has the same thing in Lady Egyptian, but then it also has it in Coptic. Ma doesn't, for whatever reason. Our mystery pronoun too. You say, okay. Again, nothing that stands out to me unless you see something. It's all known vocabulary at this point.
That's past where we've read.
Yep.
The second F I was having trouble with. I guess it's like it's N F, something like that.
Exactly. You can see it more clearly. And I apologize. I think I should turn Discord off. It's making a heck of a noise. There was a second one. Here's another one where you can see it even more clearly.
Oh yeah, it's exactly the same. But the tail is a lot bigger, so it's easier to see. But I guess the tails would overlap here.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well done. Who's next? Jeopardy music in the background. Do, 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 do. Come
I
on.
can take it if you like, but I think I've put some problems in the middle.
No worries.
So let's see. So what is that? So Unionef Jaise Uher Yip. So that's all right, I think. So now then oh god, what is that? Oh yeah. So then he ferries her to the island on the middle. And then you have this middle bit, which I'm not totally clear about, this her, which both are particles, and then I found together but although. So just going on for now. Su em nei her na, and then probably Chenu, which also isn't very clear for me. So anyways, and then the Su, I think, is a bit weird, or because I think it should be said, so it should be her, like she goes under the trees, essentially. No, there's a shell is under, and then the ne as in proceed or travel, and yeah, and I'm not quite sure about the connection in between, like how to connect it well.
There's definitely something going on there, right? Excuse me. Okay, so let's see. So to the island, her irisu emnai herinai nuhe, or however you pronounce this one. Sycamore. How do you say sycamore again?
I found it as just as tree as Chenu in this case, not a sycamore.
Oh,
Just
you know what?
trees.
We're missing something
But-
in ours. There's a sign here that's been left out. The shun is, Gardner
Yeah,
has it, but we
there's
don't.
also this like this black thing which first looked, it has a very long bottom line, doesn't it? No,
Yeah.
and then it's
Yeah.
blacked out by the track,
Yeah.
and then somewhere I found it as the sh sound, the Chenu from the tree.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Lesko just has it as tree.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are missing something in our.
Got it. Yeah, we left out a sign. That makes sense
Yeah.
now. Now that I look at it.
oh,
Okay.
the yeah transcription, yeah, and the transcription is missing a sign. Now the one that isn't quite clear. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but in the end, if it's sycamore trees or just trees,
Okay, that makes sense. So the biggest issue we have is the her, right? Her irisu.
the harrier, yeah, how to translate that right.
I looked that up.
I mean, I would probably just say and, no? So she ferried her to the island, and then she went under the trees or something. She proceeded under the trees, but yeah.
Is that
Were you
maybe a
there?
fixed
But that
expression?
would
I
just,
think
just
it's
be my
like
feeling.
why
I don't know.
I checked Lesko. I think I looked it up in Lesko. Head ear together means like while or something.
Yeah. I had it
While, okay.
now or so, something like that.
Although it's weird if that's what it is, because it's then he
Yeah,
ferried her to the
she
island in the
can't
middle.
go under the trees. Why is she ferrying over, right?
Right, which makes no sense unless it's meant to connect with the
Yeah.
following sentence, which would make sense. While she was walking under the trees, then what happens next?
Yeah.
That would make sense, right? So we're basically, if we ignore the her ear for a moment, it would be se, and like you said, not su, but se, it should be basically she.
Yeah.
She.
And I read somewhere that this is sometimes mixed up because the pronunciation is similar now.
I think so. That would make perfect sense. I mean, otherwise it would be him walking among the trees, the fairy god, which doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, that doesn't make sense because afterwards we know that she is going on to do things.
right. I'm mildly confused by the M though. If you wanted to say she was walking, it would be set he or set her, and then the infinitive, right? But here it is su M. And the M confuses me a bit. I mean,
Su N.
yeah, how come it's
Su M?
not
Yeah.
su Ernai? Sorry, su Hernai, if you're going to put anything in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What does Ramses say?
Wasn't the M some kind of grammatical thing there, like
Yes, for you're thinking like the three different options, right? Like somebody her something, which is like you're doing, somebody you are something
Yeah.
is to will be or to become future, and M. What was M?
what was What was it like? She is doing, or I don't know anymore.
Let's cheat first.
Yes, please.
I think we're on page 38 of Ramses.
I think we're still at the bottom. Can you guys still see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the
Grammatical,
last line, almost there.
progressive. Yeah,
Progressive. So it's just a
so
progressive.
he is proceeding.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, semantically, that makes sense, right? Under the trees. And like you guys said, seems to be a fixed expression for a while she was proceeding under the trees.
Oh, okay.
Huh, interesting. So yeah, I guess that's what it is. I'll read up on the M later, see if that's explained in more detail. But I also remember something that's already there in Middle Egyptian, isn't it? Like and M for. Should we leave it like as M for progressive for the moment?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
I did have a question about the na on this line. Did not look like a na at all to me.
Oh, look. Does it look like a Z?
No, it just looked like 3 lines. So it's right before the break with the shen.
Yeah, but he does it a lot. Like when he says na, when he writes na, that he has an N line and a double line for the R.
Right.
And that's really confusing because it could also just be 3 times N, like water or river or something.
Right.
It could. And the reason why it is like this is, I mean, this is your standard Aleph, right? Your Aleph bird.
Yeah.
And it's an abbreviated form that looks like this. And this is what he uses with T, like ta, basically.
Yeah, so Tan does the same, doesn't he?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It does kind of look like 3 M's. That's 3 N's, sorry, for water.
Mm.
Anyway, just an observation.
No, good one. I mean, it's fairly standard by that time, I think, that abbreviation, that thingy.
Yeah, I do prefer when he writes the curvy A's, it's more obvious.
Right.
No.
Well, since we're already on the hieratic, let's take a quick look. When inef jai set pa.
I'm noticing with the S's, he definitely tends to have, or she definitely tends to have like a distinct shape right there. And then that seems to move down into the next stroke. That's probably consistent with whatever he's done, but for some reason I'm noticing now that seems to be more of a thing.
What do you mean? I didn't get it yet.
I'm just noticing the 2 distinct parts of it.
Oh, yes. That's what you see. I mean, that's one of the things that you really realize when you use a dib pen instead of a modern marker.
Yeah.
The modern marker.
So I feel okay, because I feel like he does the vertical first and then the curvy bit, because it becomes so curvy. Well, personally, right? The S, I like to do it exactly the other way around: the small bit first, but then relatively straight, and then I can do the long bit. But to me, it looks like he does it the other way around. Like he does the vertical first, and then he adds the curve like that.
Okay.
Really couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
the thought did cross my mind because it really looks like this is the main thing, and he just adds this like a flourish, right? And I mean, maybe it is. The reason I do it the other way around is just like more like for principal reasons, because I somehow got it into my head from looking at enough of these that it's normally top to bottom, left to right. But
That's what I did too.
it could be an exception though, because you're right. It sort of looks like it, right? The only way you could prove or disprove it is either if there's like a strong color difference, like he dipped here and then this one here was still weak, and then the top part is really dark, which tells you that he basically reloaded in between. But that doesn't happen very often. With a two-stroke character, you would just go on and not reload, I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe if it like slurs into another character, if you ever did something like this, like S and then the T goes into it, that would tell you. It's just super hairy to figure this. I mean, honestly though, using that argument, actually, that would sort of make me maintain my original idea, because if it were what we just discussed, you would sort of think these would mentally connect. You see that in Chinese characters a lot, that even if you lift the pen, they sort of like, they still communicate with each other. The way my teacher calls it, like you have like communicating dots, because they still, the mechanics of the human hand makes you go in the same direction. There's a clear break here. So that's what makes me think he does this first, then this, then this. But up for debate.
Interesting either way. That's cool.
I want to see an app one day that does that for you.
Right? That would be awesome. Definitely pay for that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be worth 40, 50 bucks. Just saying, if anybody's listening. I don't know how to. I'd buy it. So, yeah, I mean, not really new, but kind of interesting to see it here. Like, basically a reed leaf with a long horizontal. I think this one is still around in Coptic now, to go to, at least in Hieratic. Her looks like a G almost. Looks a lot like a G. That's interesting. So back to your point from a moment ago, how confusing it can be with that little character. The other one that can look like this is the book row.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So this looks almost like Ta. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's Na. And then what is this supposed to be? What are we missing?
The Shen. It's like, I almost want to say it's like the 100 symbol or something like that. Don't know
Yeah,
what
kind of.
that
It's like a loop on top of a stick with a.
Yeah.
Oh, that thing. This here.
Yeah, that exactly.
Well, is that Shen or Shenu? I think it's Shen. Not really. Shenu.
Yeah, maybe Shen.
Nice.
Or not.
This is as close as we got. Somebody had the glyph number.
It's funny because the hieratic for all of those looks like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They all have the stick.
Okay. If somebody else is listening in terms of Egyptology, we really need a dictionary with all the Gardner signs next to the glyphs, as well as the definitions. That would be awesome. So that when you're recreating
just Shen though, according to mine.
Vigus does that.
and-
His dictionary on the right column has all the glyph numbers.
Does he?
Mhm.
Okay. I need to look that up then.
V49
V49.
and V49A, they're like two types, which is, I think, really the same. So variations.
Did I hear that right? V49?
Yes.
Okay, nice try.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
But it could be V7, like if what we were looking at before is correct.
That was the one we're looking at.
Yeah.
Well, is it like the one that we're looking at? Oh, we can't look at
Yeah.
it. It's not there. Duh.
Yeah. Like that's like Gardner's transcription looks like the hieratic. It doesn't look like the hieroglyph, or not like the B7 hieroglyph. But maybe that's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Ralph, at one time you were making this cool kind of Gardner list underneath your transcription lines. Are you still working on that? Maybe that was somebody else.
That wasn't me.
Maybe that was Kevin.
I think it was Kevin, yeah. I think for the moment I would leave it as is. Maybe we run into a sign again.
Sure.
And then maybe to round it off, we have that little, excuse me, lunchtime, apologize. We have that little tree here in the middle of it.
Oh, you know what? There's another one, 2 lines down, almost directly under it. There's that same sign again, or should be.
Then let's have a look.
Bingo.
There it is. Well, look at them.
It's like
Yeah,
a
that's the sign.
blob.
That isn't much to look at, isn't it?
It's not the most elegantly written sign he's ever executed.
Right, right.
I give
Yeah, but
you
we did
a lot
talk
of
about it
respect.
before, I think, with the sycamore trees also. It appeared somewhere before.
Oh, the tree? Yes, it did. You're right.
Yeah. The symbol, yeah. The symbol, the hieroglyph.
And it's going to come again, I think. There is some scene later, isn't
There's
Isaac?
another at the very end of this page, last line of this page, it appears again.
There you go. Last line of this page.
14.
Okay,
Yeah,
there we go. Oh, beautiful.
Better.
yeah.
It is, isn't it? I mean, that kind of looks
More
more.
like an onk almost, or there was another one we were looking at that was just like that, or the shoe or shay that we just saw earlier too.
True. So does that match our hieratic? Let's look at that again. So this has like a little loop here and then a stroke to the left. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
That's exactly it.
yeah.
Cool. So maybe something like this basically. And then optional, no, not really optional. Looks like typically it has a horizontal. Does ours have one?
It did on the upper one.
Yeah.
I think the lower
it was
one
pretty long.
kind of missed it, or
Yep. Indeed.
on the upper one he has a really big one actually.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. Okie doke. And then the tree here. Tree. And this here's actually a U that's spilling over from the nu. Very good. So what happened while she's walking among the trees? I think we can get one more in. We have 5 more minutes. Any volunteers?
Yeah,
Hey, Mustafa, are you there?
Hey, Mustafa.
yeah.
Take it away. We are over here.
Okay. When Ines knew that Ines knew you said P the passage Actually, it is when Ines narrative construction, as I remember, when in narrative past or something like that. In S, no, I think it is means see, to see.
Yep, Coptic now, still around. To see. Mhm.
Okay. See. Then she was seeing, or she was seeing. You said you seeing it. P passage. Actually, P means something like the most. Actually, it's kind of adverb, as I remember.
Say that again. I missed that. It's which one? The petit or peter?
I mean, you after you said P,
Yeah,
P
that
means something like adverb, as I remember.
I wonder. I wonder if we have a mistake in here. If that's
Yeah,
not the petit.
Gardner comments on this, that this is actually a mistake. It should be Petri.
That's what I think too. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes more sense.
Yeah,
So imagine instead
don't
you
think so.
had wait, where is the, but is there a T at all? I mean,
Yeah,
if it,
it's P and then T over the R, I think, and then a reed leaf.
this is sort of what you would expect, Peter with a
Mhm.
Yeah, he writes that very strangely, and later on also, no,
Yeah, and
this Petri
Yeah.
reappears,
yeah, I
and
think 2
then
lines down or something.
oh right.
yeah, this
Yeah,
TR
there it is.
looks like totally just like a line or like an I or something. So I would definitely not get that from the papyrus.
Mhm.
Then it is not you said, US Petri,
Mhm. At least that's what Gardner thinks.
US Petri. Yeah,
Okay.
Petri. Actually, it is kind of related to see,
Right.
seeing. Then passage US. She is the Enet.
Mhm.
Then you are an
Oh, the aha is wrong.
or
This is an S use and
Mm.
okay. Then US
SN.
are
Oh, there's no R. Not sure how they got
okay.
there.
As okay.
Yeah,
Then
that threw me
you
off too,
send
but what's of it?
you send there they are sit on me. Actually, me.
This is a new spelling, but he's had that before somewhere. Is that spelled omega, worm, or wom? I forgot. In Coptic.
Yeah. When me is something like related to eat.
Right, exactly. Mhm, mhm. So worm Maybe we stop with the next word
Uh,
because we're running over. Wom or oik or aku.
Okay, they are sitting upon eating, because upon it's the verbal upon eating ku saku emba, I don't know, that's whatever. I get it. Wake, they sitting upon eating bread in presence of, or in presence of Lord to the completeness.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lord to the completeness. In that council, in his council.
I saw this one translated as tent. Sech, I think. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
magistrate or something is related council or meeting.
I missed the last part.
I mean, the last line related to council or meeting.
Sorry, the line's a bit bad, but I have to cut in a moment because the Sumerian class is starting.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
I think you had it. So she looked and she saw the Ennead as they were eating bread in the presence of the Lord of all in his tent or pavilion, I guess tent in this case. All
Place
right.
of council, yes.
Say again.
Place of council maybe is what Mustafa was going for.
Yeah.
Well, we'll worry about it next time.
Next time, let's pick it up right there at end of line 3 on page 6. All right, guys.
All right. Thanks,
Have a great
everyone.
weekend. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody. So fun.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.